It's a weekly wrap-up here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. I am coming from my home office, trying to get a lot done today, working. I know my internet connection is a little slow, so hopefully I'll start seeing you guys soon, and hopefully it's not too poor of a connection. It's part of what happens when you live rural and you work rural. But there's been a lot going on this weekend and the last couple weeks that I wanted to share with all of you. So I'm hoping that we're able to get people to see and start viewing the live post today. I don't see anybody coming in yet, but I want to make sure before I start telling you and talking in some detail about news that's been happening. Just telling me I have a slow connection. A very slow connection. I might have to go downstairs and get closer to the router. Let's see. I'm going to go look on my computer and see if anything's starting. So I get a hi, Tammy. Hi, I'm here. Great. Great. We have a slow connection. Nice to see you, Deborah. Nice to see you, Kristen. And Adrian. So many of you. It has been a busy few weeks, as you guys saw. Our sanctuary, as well as many others across the country, have been very, very busy. And the first thing I want to just talk about is the collaboration between sanctuaries, not only with the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance, with the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, but our connections through Wildlife Confiscation Network. So many animals, and especially cats' lives, have been saved over the last few weeks because of the collaboration and because of the work of so many. So I am very, very thankful to be part of an industry that always steps up for the animals. And so we're, in addition to the cases I'll talk about, we are still working on placing some other cats in need at this time through the network. So if you guys saw yesterday, you know, we can only say so much because of our witness protection programs, but several of us sanctuaries have witness protection programs in place. I was contacted by through the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance, as I'm the rescue committee chair, of a lot of times of cats in need. And even though we're the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance, there's a board of directors, there's committee chairs, and all of us, I would say the majority of us, are sanctuary directors, founders, employees. So it's not another group when the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance gets a call and needs help with placement. It defaults to one of us sanctuaries. And this time it defaulted to me. And so we received a call on a very notorious roadside zoo that's now in the been in the media a lot. So West Coast Game Park, that has had years and years of violations. Everything from not caring for the animals with food, not seeking veterinary care. They have, and this is all public, so I'm not sharing anything new. The USDA reports showed that they have little den boxes or little night houses, a lot smaller than the bedrooms that our cats have at the sanctuary. I mean, these are more den boxes. There's usually not electricity from the USDA reports. There's no windows, really poor ventilation, and many times these animals were sharing the yard. So when they weren't on display, they were locked in to these den boxes. And some of the USDA reports were just scathing about how long cats were locked in without ventilation, without light, that they were sitting on straw that was urine soaked and their fur was matted, some urine burns. There was cats that USDA cited as very, very thin bones and hips showing, that there wasn't a lot of food at times in the freezer, and one time they went there was one employee on site for 300 animals to care for them. There was a lot, the USDA reports and everything that's been in the media has confirmed that there was a lot of dead animals in freezers, including tiger heads and paws. And so, you know, when we go on these calls, we know that It can be anything, and that's usually not the nicest people. Were we aware that the news would break that this was much more than an animal welfare case of 300 animals not receiving the care, but also that over $1 million was found in cash receipts, bonds, the news says, guns, drugs. This just tells you how much of crime is intertwined when people abuse and traffic animals. So it started quite a few months ago, I can share, where we did not receive an inventory of animals except for what the last USDA inspection had shown, and that had been a couple months away, and authorities weren't going to get on site again. They didn't want to tip off their investigation. So my job began compiling from social media posts from old USDA inspection forms what we thought the animal inventory for carnivores was. That included bears as well. And to see anything we could find about those animals based on what was posted on social media, proximate ages, based on USDA reports, health concerns, based on more things we saw, were they housed together or singly. All of this is needed to know for us to get commitments from other sanctuaries that they can help the animals. And so I reached out to, of course, the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance sanctuaries, and the first tier we go is for GFOS accredited and verified. And so luckily within that time there was 4 other sanctuaries. I don't want to tout their own horns. I want them to share when they can, that committed to the cats. There was one sanctuary that actually was doing transport for multiple sanctuaries and zoos that committed to some of these 300 animals, and I'm so grateful for that. But it was a lot of time to get commitments. We had some facilities that said yes, but then came back and had to say no due to other rescues. Some that said yes, but then no due to medical concerns. We knew the bobcats would be hardest to place because we have so many bobcats in the system that need homes right now. So the Wildcat Sanctuary first tried to place certain animals. We knew we had space for some, so we committed to those right away. And then our team left it open to whatever cats we couldn't place would come back to the Wildcat Sanctuary. And we knew that would overextend us a little bit, so we were really working hard. So when I couldn't find BCSA or GFAS sanctuaries to accommodate the bobcats, we reached out to our connections at the Wildlife Confiscation Network to find AZA zoos that would have place for bobcats, because it's always a win-win if a facility of any sort will rescue an animal versus buy from a breeder or breed an animal. So we thought that was great. And unfortunately, the one zoo that had committed hadn't worked a lot with rescues in the past. So a lot of the zoos are asking questions of what their age is. Could they, be handled by humans? What's their health concerns, blah, blah. If they did have something viral or infectious, would we take them back? And stuff that I just didn't get those questions from sanctuaries, because sanctuaries knows it's sight unseen, right? This is a rescue and we're going to be committed no matter what. So very different key learning for me. And then a couple days before the commitment, because we have to get permits. We have to check that each state has different requirements. Do they need import numbers, import permits? Some of those takes days, weeks. Some can't take certain native species. So some had agreed to some species that were considered native, and then we had to back off that placement in exchange that we could take that animal for another animal. And then the AZA Zoo backed out because they got a call on bobcat kittens that needed a home, and that left me hanging again. So again, we were changing paperwork. We were going to take the bobcats, and then luckily another AZA zoo stepped forward, but they couldn't do transport. So then we were negotiating with one of a really great sanctuary to do the transport to get them closer to the zoo. And so there's so much behind the scenes, and this isn't even knowing much about the animals. And so what we were in charge of is our team, the 5 of us, were in charge of that. We were going to go on site with authorities. We were going to go quickly assess the animals in the enclosures, that they were safe. Us, along with 3 other agencies, was going to mobilize the big cats that we needed to. There was strict safety protocol in place for the safety of the public and the safety of the animals. We wanted to do this with the least amount of stress, but as quickly as possible. We had to immobilize and move from this facility, you know, it was up to 16 animals. It ended up being 15 at that time. And if you look at immobilization, knockdown, exams, if we needed to draw blood, if we need to do any critical vet work based on their condition, that time is intense. And for a member of 5 of us to do that. The other sanctuaries came and were there for transport. They brought their transport crates in. But our team did the majority of it, and not because the other sanctuaries necessarily wouldn't. It's because they needed to limit the access to this facility. They needed to do background checks. They needed to have it very controlled. There was more law enforcement on this case than I've ever been on, which is wonderful for safety, but definitely causes a little stress for the animals. And so to say that this was a small undertaking is very lightweight to say this. This was an extreme, wonderful thing that sanctuaries do. We're not the only sanctuary that does this. There's many, but this was a case that PETA, USDA, every animal rights group, ALDF, even individual sanctuaries have been trying to shut down for years because of the cruelty. So this is a huge win. These animals, and they coined themselves as the biggest wild animal pay-to-play interaction encounter farm in the country. And so these animals were being bred, paraded out, had members of the public every 20 minutes or even every 10 minutes touching them. And you know, then where did they go? Many of these animals that I was looking on social media years ago are no longer there. What's happened to them? So we're hoping we can share more of the details of the cats we took soon, and I know other sanctuaries are sharing at different times, and really none of us just want to impede the case. We want the case and these charges to stick based on all the reports and everything that's been seen, and then we can share these animals with you. But knowing that our team, the cost of our team going, the cost of us immobilizing and paying for the immobilization drugs and equipment and vet time for every animal, even the animals that went to other sanctuaries, is why we are asking to help us refill our rescue fund. Every sanctuary incurs costs when they do things like this, but when you're the lead of it, you're incurring a lot of costs as well, you know, especially with those immobilization drugs, the vet time, and then when we have 5 staff away, the backup time for staff on site. And that's not even part of the $20,000 price tag. The $20,000 price tag is just really our labor to go there, our equipment, the immobilization drugs, the vehicles, the meals, and the overnight stays. So it's an expensive, and I think it was really interesting to put those pricings together, because we usually just really start taking on looking at the cost of lifetime care versus the cost of a rescue. And so when you help us give $5, $10 to refill our rescue fund, we didn't even have to think twice about taking the lead and spending the money and going there. All the sanctuaries that supported this rescue are going to have lifetime care costs and transport costs. But to be the lead and to do the amount of staffing and the amount of immobilizations and vet care needed, that was definitely an added expense. So again, I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you. $52 has been raised so far. And we know many of you donated at the e-news and yesterday, but I kind of wanted to give you behind the scenes. I know people are asking, can we sponsor witness protection cats? You can definitely donate at a sponsorship level for our witness protection program, but you cannot get updates or any behind the scenes information at this time. Again, we always need support for our witness protection cats. Many times you don't even know we have them because the case is not public at all. Luckily, this one did go public, and we're able to share with you that yes, we have multiple cats that will be hopefully permanent residents when the case is resolved. But in the meantime, you can definitely help sponsor those at the big cat level for sure. And I know Jody would help you do that if you call her at 320-245-6871. And then on top of this case, you guys are aware, we talked about the Canada case a little bit before, and there's a lot going on in the Canada case with the lions. And it's, again, this is not a one and done. The lion case, because it's an international case like others, is a marathon, and it has multiple cats. And again, we're working in collaboration with other groups, and we're so thankful for their help, their collaboration, and our teamwork as two sanctuaries, I should say 3 sanctuaries, because the holding facility up in Canada is a sanctuary, has been second to none. There's been a lot of challenges and a lot of things that we can't share yet because, again, it's a protected case. But no, we're working hard to bring those lions to the U.S. to 2 sanctuaries, ours in Turpentine Creek, and Turpentine Creek has been doing relocation of the lions as well from Quebec to Ontario. And so we're consulting, our vets are consulting on the case nonstop because, as you know, with rescues, things come up. We have Jackie and Tyler flew back there this week, so that's the second time we're out there to help with construction for temporary holding areas to give them a little bit more cushion of where they're at, since we don't know when those permits are coming in, and we are obviously preparing for their arrival, which we hope will be late summer or early fall. And I will be traveling up to Canada, and our veterinarian might be at least another time, probably before the transfer. So that alone is another case that, you know, we might spend $20,000 to $40,000 even prior to getting the cats here to do lifetime care, intake exams, things like that. So we will be doing intake exams on all our recent witness protection cats as well. And we, as always, we provide any data we can over to that case when we do that. Sometimes we will do those exams right away, but sometimes if the animals need time to adjustment, we don't want their cortisol levels real high, or if they were just immobilized for the transfer, we're going to wait a little bit just to make sure that we can do it as safely as possible. So those are kind of our big cases. And there's always things going on behind the scenes. And so we here at the sanctuary, the 3 roofs that you helped us fund have been completed, and that was on the small cat track building, the Roar Ridge building, and our quarantine building. So thank you for making that happen. We have the well, finally trying to get a hold of contractors. Definitely with the holiday was hard. Coming the first week in June, so we're excited about that. We have some landscaping around some new volunteer pavilions being worked on. We also need a roof over our cooler, which is not a project we had estimated this year or expected, but we are getting leaking in the rain, and then with the freezing in the winter, it's heaving and moving the freezer up and causing some issues with the concrete. So putting kind of, I would say, easy way to say it is a large carport over the cooler and freezer will really help, but of course that's an unexpected cost. The staff are also looking at a lot of moves and mergers right now that we hope we can update you on. And so I know that it was announced about Brianna and Rio, which is great, but we have a few. Mira's going to be having some play dates in the next week, as well as some other cats. So if you're a sponsor, we will update you on that. We have some summer projects coming up that we're going to ask for your support, and they're very, very exciting, so stay tuned for that. And I know many of you bought items in the auction, the online auction, and I was loving seeing those pictures online. Really, really like to see that. And many of you bought the VIP tickets for the on-site event. So if you didn't get your chance at a VIP ticket, again this summer, there'll be another auction where you can bid on a few more opportunities to get on site and see your favorite cats. So that's kind of my weekly wrap up. I mean, the vet working group that we got so many wonderful comments from the veterinarians on that. So we're moving on some next steps to keep that momentum going as well. And now it's time to just hit heavy construction season. And we have caves going in for 2 of the big cats, so 2 new big cat caves that we're really excited about. We're doing some pool repairs that the winter did damage from pool repairs, and we are doing new platform systems. I will tell you, we had volunteers building some wonderful new elaborate fun jungle gyms for our witness protection cats. So I can't wait till we can share those guys with you. Definitely working hard to getting them settled in and improving their lives here at the sanctuary. So stay tuned, and thank you guys for making our rescue work possible, even when you don't get to know all the details or even know it's happening ahead of time. We are talking with the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance about how there needs to be a better system, because as we get more and more of these large-scale cases, the burden can't always fall on all of us and all of you. We do know with like the Oregon case, we did not receive any funding, and either did any sanctuary for receiving those animals. And we want to be able to step up in cases like that. But if we're working with large national groups that are doing fundraising on the cases, you know, we want to make sure that everybody is benefiting, because when we all benefit from fundraising together, we all can benefit and do more work for the animals. And so a lot of times funding goes into the prior to the rescue. So you might see Facebook posts on help us save these by big organizations. But those organizations don't have sanctuaries. And so then sanctuaries are coming in and taking all those animals. And I think the public doesn't understand that we're not getting lifetime care or anything. We might get reimbursed a little bit for travel, but there needs to be a way. There's enough wonderful support to go around for everybody, and we have to remember the rescue does not end on the day they get out of that cruel situation. There is vet work, there is habitats to build, there is lifetime care, and usually ongoing extreme vet care needed in a lot of these new rescue cases. And so we need that funding to go far past the day of rescue. So thank you guys so much for always being there and always making sure that we can say yes to the next case. And I can't wait till I can share some of the new residents with you. And so stay tuned in the next coming weeks and months.